What is up, everybody? Random Random Man here, aka RRM, bringing you another rapid movie review, aka RMR. And it is for The Smashing Machine in one take. Based on the documentary of the same name, the plot of this biographical sports drama follows the life and career of amateur wrestler and MMA fighter Mark Kerr. Dwayne Johnson plays Mark Kerr here, and he has been getting a lot of serious recognition as a prominent and dramatic performer here. And I gotta say, when it comes to the Best Actor Oscar race, I think as of this moment, he is going to get a nomination. It is not just how he takes his days as a professional wrestler in real life before becoming an actor that makes him have the physicality here. He really commits to the whole dramatic edge that he has on top of the prosthetics and makeup that are put on him to resemble the real life Kerr. And that is what I think helps him give one of the standout performances of 2025. Emily Blunt plays his girlfriend Dawn, and I thought that she gave some strong work here, with the movie mostly comprising of scenes involving them in the domestic drama of their increasingly infernal relationship, also going back and forth between Kerr training with how he does his whole turn in becoming an MMA fighter, while also dealing with an opioid addiction in between trying to get clean and bettering himself. Shout out also goes to Ryan Bader, who plays Kerr's best friend and fellow fighter, Mark Coleman, and I think that with him rounding out the main trio here, I think it helps out with how the structure of this movie is not necessarily one that is differentiating from other biopics. This film is written, co-produced, directed, and edited by Benny Safdie. In his solo directorial debut, he actually won the Silver Lion for Best Director at Venice, where this film premiered. And I think that what he does on the page, between how the film often oscillates in what I mentioned in scenes between Kerr and Dawn just going at each other, and then also seeing how Kerr is as a fighter, the movie works mostly, but doesn't have necessarily the best and most cohesive flow because it just ends up being by the numbers, despite the individual scenes themselves working a lot with how everything is shot and staged together. Directing wise, I think that Safdie does warrant some praise in terms of how he is able to bring everything together and of course get the most out of his actors, Johnson in particular, again committing to the bit. And then the way this movie goes with its technical elements here, like I said, Safdie edits this film, and while I think it could have been tighter in terms of its running time at just about 2 hours, I think scenes do flow in giving us the effect of what we're trying to get out of the real kind of drama that is presented here, and just seeing how someone like myself who's not too familiar with the subjects in this film could really get into all that is happening, even with us basically dropped into the action from the get-go and just viewing everything in a pseudo-documentary style, which the way the movie was shot really feels that way, as if we're peering into someone's life in real life. And the original score I have to give a lot of praise here for, as it mixes a very droning and jazzy type of feel to where we're feeling dread in some moments just with how Kerr is feeling mentally, and even just how scenes play out with the fighting sequences, which I think are mostly well staged and just show off the real brutality as to how this kind of fighting style really is shown off. I mean, I've seen MMA or UFC fights in real life for sure on TV, and this shows off some of the early days of that. The film takes place from 1997 to 2000, and I really got myself feeling into the time period from there. All in all, I think that Johnson justifies all this praise that he's been getting in this often oscillating but blunt biopic, no pun intended, that I do think is an awards contender mainly for Johnson. And as a film overall, it's not my favorite that Safdie has done compared to, say, Uncut Gems, which I loved, but I do think that it is a good film and worth seeing for the performances. And I think that anyone can take away something that beyond Johnson wanting to be a serious performer, he also shows that, you know, the heart of this movie is with him, even with the ending also standing out to me in that it didn't go for a typical ending either. With all of that being said, my final verdict for The Smashing Machine is 3.5 out of 5 stars. Thank you all, as always, for watching. Be sure to like this video, comment on what you thought of The Smashing Machine, social media links in the description, subscribe to my channel for more, and I'll catch you on the next movie review.